Hello, my name is Blanca Jauregui. Today is January 11, 2018. I'm doing the Axial and Appendicular Skeleton, part 2 of my lab. And let's get started. Tools are this, the skeleton. So I'm going to start off with the axial skeleton. So this is the anterior skull we're looking at right here. So we have the nasal bone, the vomer, the maxilla, the mandible, the zygomatic, the sphenoid, the ethmoid, the lacrima right here, and the frontal. Then we want to look at the posterior skull, so that would be the mandible, the occipital, the parietal, and the temporal. Then we want to look at the inferior skull, so that would be, so here we have the occipital, we have the parietal, we have the temporal, we have the sphenoid, and we have the ethmoid right here. Okay? And just so you know, on the back, I just have a guide list. All right, so then we can look at the vertebral column. Let's see here. So this bone right here is the axial, the atlas, and this is the axis. So atlas, axis. The first 7 of these are the cervical vertebrae. The next 12 are the thoracic vertebrae, and the last 5 are the lumbar vertebrae. Here we have the sacrum, the coccyx. All right, and then now we can look at the thoracic cage, which is still part of the axial skeleton. So we have the body of the sternum, the manibrum of the sternum. We have the false ribs, which is actually let me start off with the true ribs. True ribs are the first 7 of these ribs because they are connected through cartilage. And then the 8 through 12 are considered the false ribs. And then we call 11 and 12 floating ribs. Now we can look at the appendicular skeleton, in which the pectoral girdle consists of the clavicle here and the scapula here. The upper limb would be the humerus, the ulna, and the radius. And then for the lower, well, actually, let me go with the hand here. So we have, this is part of the upper limbs. So we have the scaphoid, lunate, tracheatrium, and passiform. Then up here we would have the hamate, capitate, trapezium, trapezoid, metacarpals, and phalanges. Then now we can look at the pelvic girdle and the lower limbs. So the pelvic girdle is this part right here. We have the ilium, the ischium, and the pubic bone right here. And then we have the lower limbs, which is the humerus, the tibia, and the fibula. All right, and then we can look at the foot, the ankle and the foot, which is part of the lower limbs. So here the lining's a little bad, but we have the calcaneus right here, the cuboid right here, the intermediate cuneiform right here, the lateral cuneiform, and the medial cuneiform right here. Here we have the navicular, and then up here we have the talus. So this part right here is the talus. All right, and that is the axial and the appendicular skeleton. Thank you.